Good morning, my friends. Let's do this today. Let's take a nice breath in and a big sigh. Let the breathing come back to normal. Welcome. My name is Drake, and this is Touching the Edge. And this is the 40-day commitment to having more of a yes for your life. Having more of a yes to face the challenges that you have to face so that you can go to where you actually do want to go. And so, how do we do that? How do we say yes? Well, one of the ways that we say yes is finding ways not to say no, not to be saying no consistently. And we do that by asking ourselves positive questions. Ask yourself questions that have a yes baked into them. And so those questions can frame our reality in a way that makes us feel like we're winning. One of the things that happened for me at a certain period of my life, and it was understandable. I was in a situation as a boy that was extremely hostile. And so I was often, afraid of what might happen next. But I was also asking myself questions, and I was training myself without realizing it to have anxiety by asking myself questions consistently about what might go wrong next. And so I was in this state consistently of looking out for what could go wrong. That is not a state in which you thrive. I'm asking yourself to frame the question in ways that lets you feel like you're winning, not always makes you feel like the world is against you. And so those questions can work well in games. And one of those games is the gratitude game that we played just a few days ago, asking yourself what are you grateful for? Asking yourself to come up with 4 areas that you're grateful for, either large or small, and being willing to play that game with other people. Another game that I play is based around Napoleon Hill's 7 positive emotions. And I amend those into positive questions to activate the brain to look for those areas. And so, going through it, let's play this game together right now. I'm going to ask you, the first one is hope. Where do you find hope? What are you hopeful for? Either large or small, where do you have hope? One of my great hopes is I will be able to keep consistently putting positive energy into the world and gradually build an audience. That's one of my areas of hope. What about you? Right now, what are you hopeful for? Second question, faith. Faith. Why do you have faith? Where do you find faith? Do you find faith in God? Do you find faith in some sort of spirituality? What does the word faith mean to you? In ancient myth, the unicorn was considered to be a magical animal, and if you came in contact with a unicorn, you were considered to be incredibly lucky. And the unicorn was supported by all of reality. It was completely and utterly unique. Well, that's you. You are the unicorn. There's no one like you in the world. Einstein said you have to come to the point where you ask yourself the question of whether this is a benevolent universe or a universe that's is antagonistic, out to get you. I would suggest that you're going to be happier if you think of the world as benevolent, and then you begin to see how supported you are. I have faith that we are in a benevolent universe, and I have faith that humanity is essentially good, even though we haven't always shown that. Third question, enthusiasm. I'm enthusiastic. I'm enthusiastic about making a positive difference. What are you enthusiastic about? Next question. He frames it as a burning desire. One of my strongest challenges was in studying meditation practice and originally studying Buddhism, where Buddha supposedly said that desire was the root of all suffering, which I can totally vibe with. Yeah, but at the same time, I was also dealing with teachers of manifestation practice, people like Napoleon Hill, Shakti Gawan, and they talked about what you focus on grows, and that you had to create a desire and a plan to really move towards what you really want. That you had to have a burning desire, and I couldn't seem to jive that. How could desire be the root of all suffering and what you needed to have in order to create a life that was thriving? And yet, at one point in studying, Buddhist texts, I found that the Buddha originally had a burning desire to see the end of all suffering. He followed that desire to reduce that suffering. So, and it's one of those elements that seems like opposites, but they actually fit together. You can have a burning desire and release desire. So my burning desire is to create a shift, or to be part of creating a shift. Where we focus and realize that we are one family. My burning desire is to do anything I can to support us in realizing that we are one family. What is your burning desire? What do you have a burning desire, a passion to accomplish? Next question, love. Who do you love? Who do you love? It could be anyone. It could be someone living or past. That love is still there. It could be an animal. Who do you love? One of the people that I have this great love for is my daughter. When my daughter came into this world, I found a drive to become a better person. Who do you love? Next question, creativity. Where do you find creativity? I find creativity in lots of different areas, but one of them is in coming up with metaphors that supports people in having a clarity that they didn't have before. Where do you find creativity? Last question, romance. Romance. Now he talks about romance, and normally, we think of romance, we think of falling in love, but I think of it as different than that. To me, romance is closer to what the Sufis talk about in terms of the beloved. When the Sufis talk about the beloved, they're talking about God, and when they say that you fall in love with someone, you're falling in love with God in them. So I'm talking about romance closer to that, but not even quite that, although it's related. I'm talking about the romance of loving yourself. What do you love about yourself? And not just now, but throughout your life. One of the areas that I love about myself was this love of reading that I developed that changed my life. What do you love about yourself? And kind of riff on that. And so those are Napoleon Hill's 7 positive emotions that I call the 7 positive questions. So I'm asking you to bake those positive questions into your life, because if you do, you will find that you are thriving. It's possible to be thriving and not be aware of it. So I'm going to ring the bell now. I'm going to ask you to listen carefully. Here we go. I bring my hands to prayer position, and I bow to you, my friend. Ask yourself positive questions today. Namaste. Take care.